Well, in this video, I'm going to take you to the eastern end of Long Island to do some photography. I'm out here with my family, but I will sneak in some sunrises and some sunsets, and we will see what I can get. Good morning. It is my first morning out shooting on the eastern end of Long Island, New York. And here's a tip. The best thing a photographer can have is an alarm clock. Because I had planned to drive out to Amagansett or Montauk this morning and shoot the sunrise. But by the time I got up, without setting an alarm, it was too late. So I'm staying near a town called Sag Harbor. And I drove out to the end of this, I guess it's a municipal dock, and you'll see behind me there's kind of some boats out in the harbor here. The sun is supposed to rise right over those hills there. We'll see if it happens. I'm going to set up and see if I can get some shots. So we're starting to get some color in the sky. I'm not sure it's going to be fantastic because there's a band of clouds out there, but we'll see. The bigger challenge I have is composition. You look at this and say, hey, that's a pretty scene, but I'm not sure I can make a great picture out of it. I'd love to have either, you know, a grouping of boats together or one isolated boat, and it's just tough to make sense of this bit of a mess here. Ended up getting a pretty sky and back, but I gotta tell you, I don't think I got any decent shots. I'll put one or two up now, but I might drive around town a little bit just to get some shots before the crowds come. And it's a very quaint little town, so maybe I'll capture something. By the way, there are some pretty nice boats parked in Sag Harbor. You can see this one, but there's a whole slew of them back there. It's a whole marina full of pretty nice boats. I'm actually going to take some shots here. I kind of like almost the beautiful chaos of all these lines and boats and shapes. Use my long lens to compress this scene, and I'll zoom in a little bit. You'll get a sense of what I'm focused on. Must be, I don't know, 10 or 12 of these very sizable boats here. So after I took those shots by the pier, I just drove around Sag Harbor, which is a really quaint, picturesque village, just trying to capture some of the beauty of the area. And here are some of the shots I got. There's a great movie theater in Sag Harbor that unfortunately about 5-6 years ago burned down, but a bunch of people raised money and they rebuilt it in its original form, and it's just fantastic. looks like there is a storm a-coming, which means I'm gonna head to the beach, and I'm hoping that once this storm passes, we'll get a pretty cool sky. So I'm heading out right now. See you in a little bit. Well, I made it down to the beach, and it is just starting to rain. Everyone is leaving, so I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna stay here a bit. It's still about an hour and 15 minutes before sunset, so I do have some time. My hope is that this thunderstorm kind of passes over me, heads offshore, and I can get shots from the beach when it's not raining or lightning with a storm in the background. I don't know if it's gonna work, but again, I'm gonna be patient. Well, it is really pouring. You can probably hear it hitting the car. I've got 45 minutes before sunset. I don't know. I think this is going to be a washout. I will be patient. I will stick it out. But more and more, I think it's going to be a washout. But the waves are really rocking now, too. Man. I don't know. At least I tried. Well, it looks like in back of me, the sky is trying to clear up. But ahead of me, it's still pretty dark, and there's still lightning, and I may just have to back it. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. I've only got 20 minutes before sunset, so we'll see. It's still raining, but I am seeing some brightening of the sky, and it's coming this way. I just think I'm running out of time because I only have about 15 minutes before sunset. I can shoot a little after sunset, but not that much longer, so I'm not giving up yet, but I think about a 10% chance I get a shot here. Well, it is past sunset. It is still raining. Never panned out. If I didn't try, I definitely would have not gotten a shot. You never know. So I'm gonna head home now. Well, it is another evening here in the Hamptons, and I was out at dinner on my way home, not planning on shooting, and I noticed a pretty cool sun in the sky, and I thought it'd be a great sunset, so I drove probably just a mile and a half from where I'm staying because I know there's a place I could shoot sunset, and as I look at the sun, it is slipping behind some clouds right now, and it may not be any good. We'll see. Well, that spot I was just at really wasn't great. It was actually great during the winter. In fact, here's a shot I took, I think it was right around Christmas, at the spot where I just was. So I came to a different spot only about half a mile away, area called Long Beach in, I guess it's Noyak, New York. And you do have this area where these old pilings are in front, and at high tide, they are in the water. So I'm gonna try to get a shot with them in the foreground and hopefully a colorful sky in the background, but no guarantees. Well, I set my camera up on a tripod with some of these, sorry for the noise, some of these old pilings in front. I'm down pretty low. I don't think we're gonna get much of a sunset, but I will, I think, create sort of a minimalistic view here with that water very smoothed out because of a very long exposure. I'm using a 10-stop ND filter, and I'm gonna go out probably about a minute at this point. Well, good morning. I woke up late again, but I gotta set that alarm. I drove over to an area of East Hampton called The Springs, and there's this one road that does travel along the water, and it does face east, so you can get a nice sunrise here. The challenge I always have is finding a subject. A couple years ago I found this great subject which doesn't exist anymore, but it was this old broken down pier. I'll put that up now. That was a foggy morning. It was a really cool shot, This morning I'm looking around, I drove up and down the street. There's really not much. There's a couple of maybe just interesting rocks I can focus on and create sort of a minimalist feel. I don't think the sunrise is going to be that great behind me, but I'll get my tripod out and give it a shot. Well, I am really hoping for a nice sunset. I kind of climbed down this little bank of rocks here, and I'm positioned along this rocky shoreline, just focusing on this one rock. And I'm not sure what the situation is with the sky, but it feels as if there's this band of clouds out there blocking anything. But I'm going to stick around. There's some color in the sky, some nice pink. We'll see if I get lucky. Well, I am using a very long exposure, going about 2 minutes, to remove any distractions, create a very ethereal, minimalist feel with that rock in the kind of lower left third of the image in the foreground. To do that, I'm using a 10-stop neutral density filter, which really darkens the scene, allows for a much longer exposure. In addition, I'm using a 3-stop graduated filter, hard grad filter, which will darken the sky because the foreground is a little darker than the sky, can balance things out. Well, I took some shots over there, and I literally am just crossing the street now, and there's sort of a marshy, grassy area over here. Bay comes into it, but there's one kind of lone wooden house seemingly right on the edge of this marsh. So I'm going to get some shots of this. Might be pretty interesting. There's a park near here, right? Probably a beach that I've shot sunset before. Here's a shot I took probably 2 years ago, and I think I'm gonna just drive over there and see if I can find anything. Even though it's not a colorful sky, you know, it doesn't hurt to go look. It's only about 5 or 6 minutes away from here. After getting some shots at the beach, I was driving back to where I was staying, and I came across this grouping of trees that I had to stop and shoot. Well, I made it back to a beach in East Hampton, Main Beach. This is where I was rained out the other night, and there was a storm coming. So I'm hoping I get some shots before the storm hits. It's about 20 minutes before sunset, and just walking down to an area where I've shot before, these old pilings. I'm going to do a long exposure. The nice thing is, hi, look at my friend here. Photographer attacked by puppy on beach. Well, the reason I wanted to come out tonight is it's a really moody view offshore. You can see behind me, it's just clouds and fog and haze. And I think with my subject, I'm going to get this very minimalist image using a long exposure. In fact, I'm at my destination now. This could be really cool. We'll see. Well, I've set up. I've got my camera on a tripod. I've got a 10-stop ND filter in there. Set the focus before. And now I just got to get the exposure right. I think I'm going to go out about 2 minutes right now. And we'll see how it comes out. I didn't use any apps. I'm just kind of doing trial and error. And I don't have too much time, honestly. But this could be wicked cool if it works. We'll see. Well, I think I got some really cool shots. Again, I've been to this location before, but it's different every time I come, so I'm pretty happy with the images. You've seen them already, but I'm pretty confident that they were reasonably good, unless they were just out of focus or blurry or something. So I got about a quarter-mile hike on the beach back to the car, and get them on the computer.
I took the long road home.
So I got a very early start this morning. Left the house, I guess about 2:55 to be exact. And I'm making my way towards Montauk. There's a pier that I want to shoot that I've shot before, but it's a nice spot. But on my way, I'm going to find maybe interesting spots that I can stop and shoot, kind of do some nighttime shooting if I find some interesting subjects. So we'll see how it goes.
And the world it said with a small still breath, thanks for coming just to see me.
So I made it to Navy Pier in Montauk. Typically, if you're photographing in Montauk, you're probably shooting the Montauk Lighthouse, which I have shot before many times. There's a couple of images of this lighthouse, which is fantastic. I was hoping for either a great sunrise or some fog offshore to create some nice mood for this pier, and at this point I've gotten neither. So I'm going to set up and try to get some shots. I'm not sure what is going to happen here. I'm not holding out hopes for an award-winning shot, but I'm here. I'll get some shots and see what I can do. So because that sky is brighter than the pier in the foreground, I'm using a graduated neutral density filter. I'll push it down. You can see on the back of my screen what it does. So if I push down, you'll see that the sky darkens and you get more of a balance to the scene. That water is going to be a little bright. I may have to play with it in post, but we'll take a shot. And not a bad image. So not a great sunrise, but still, I just love the simplicity of this dock. It's a very long dock, and you get these converging lines that kind of go out to the horizon. I'm playing around with some kind of 2-second exposure selfies. So my camera's on a timer, and I press the shutter. I pop out on the pier and I walk back, and the shutter's open for about 2 seconds, and so you get this kind of motion blur. Kind of goofy. I'll pop one up, you see what it looks like. So I got a little bit of definition in those upper clouds, and they are moving, so I figure I'd try a longer exposure, maybe 45 seconds, just to capture some of that cloud movement. It will also smooth out that water, but honestly it's so smooth anyway it wouldn't make much of a difference. But it's really to capture some of the cloud movement, just to see what happens. Well, it's just past sunrise. I should probably head back, but I do see sort of this fog rolling in off the edge of the pier here. So if that thickens up and maybe hides some of the land mass on the right, I might stick around and get some shots just to create sort of a minimalist feel with the fog in the background. Well, we are totally socked in with fog. The fog just kind of came right across this bay here, and so you get this really clean background. So the image I'm taking will be entirely about the dock, and there won't be any distractions in the water, in the background. Again, probably black and white, maybe high contrast. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So I'm just messing around with the long exposures. I'm trying this thing where camera on a tripod, about a 2-second delay. I press the shutter, I run down the pier and I walk back slowly, and then I stop in front of the camera and stand there for about 20 seconds. So I'm hoping what you get is sort of this shadowy person coming towards you, and then you'll see me in the image up front. It'll be a little blurry because I can't keep that still for 20 seconds. I don't know. I'm here, I might as well give it a try. Pretty cool. Check it out. So I left the pier and I made one stop along the way, kind of a landmark on Route 27, known famously for its lunch sign. Here's the shot I got.